So this is the North Plainfield Exempt Fireman's Hall, the first floor. It's fashioned after a firehouse. It actually never was a firehouse. Over the years since it was built, it served the town in a lot of different ways. When I was a kid in grade school, they used to have the book fairs here. It served as the library for a short time. We had a member who converted and made the museum in the way it is today. It sits today. These antiques are priceless. Their origins are legendary. The stories of how they came to be in our possession is interesting, to say the least. It's fallen a little bit on hard times. We're having a hard time keeping the building going, trying to identify some ways to generate some revenue. We've got the lights on, but that's about it. You'll see it's a little cold in here. We don't have heat just yet, but we can talk about some of the pieces that are in the collection. This is silver hose carriage, and it's called the silver hose carriage because everything that's not wooden is plated in silver. It's supposed to have been, dates back to the volunteer fire department in New York City, prior to the paid department. Legend has it that it belonged to an engine company in Manhattan of a very wealthy membership, and it was a point of great pride for the company. Not sure how many fires it fought, but it is a beautiful piece. It's been in the possession of the Exempt in North Plainfield, from what I understand, since the 50s. When the Exempts here were very active, they would tow it anywhere they would want to have it for parades. It would be hand pulled by members of the Exempt Association in their unique uniform, which was a white high front helmet, a bright red blouse with a ascot, I guess you would call it, identifying them as the North Plainfield Exempts. In this, I believe it was in the late 1960s, early 1970s, it was actually on a trailer, and the trailer was hit in a motor vehicle accident. The members of the Exempt Association rebuilt it, restored it. It's been here since then. It hasn't gone out on parade since then, beyond North Plainfield. And then in the early 2000s, the end of late 90s, early 2000s, a couple of members got together and restored the wheels, had the four wheels restored, and put it back together. It is the centerpiece of the Exempts. It's probably the most iconic piece in the collection. We have a hand pumper that served the city of Plainfield. Again, legend has it that its first call was an umbrella factory, which sat on the border of North Plainfield and Plainfield. It's a great piece. Again, it was anytime it would leave here to be on parade, it would be hand pulled by members of the organization. And behind that is a steamer. It also served the city of Plainfield. When members would have that out on parade, they would contract with a local farm, and they would bring a couple horses down, and it would be actually horse pulled as it was, and members would ride the back step. Legend has it that the city of Plainfield acquired the pumper from Stamford, Connecticut, but I haven't been able to verify that story myself. But it is a great piece, and those are three main pieces in the museum.
So tell me more about the museum itself. I mean, obviously you said there's no heat at the moment, which is pretty evident. We can see our breath.
Yeah, so the membership of the Exempt Association that kept the place going, and the revenue relied upon dues and fundraisers. Either they grew out of it, they grew older, they passed away, or they moved away, so the membership declined. There's one member that still lives here in town, but it's a lot to try to do all on his own. My involvement with our local relief association, some of the older retired guys or older volunteers from North Plainfield urged us to try to get back involved in the Exempt Association, try to do something to save the building. and the collection and the organization. My involvement was and still is really to stabilize the building, stabilize the place so it doesn't deteriorate any further, and preserve this collection, this museum. So we're exploring different ways to repurpose the building. There's a full second floor that used to get rented out for parties and things like that, but it's just not feasible anymore. So we're trying to repurpose that area, maybe office use for the local police and firefighters unions in town, the larger hall maybe for continuing education efforts, seminars or lectures. So we're exploring things like that. There's a lot of potential here, a tremendous amount of potential, and there is some interest. But it takes money to make money, and we need to identify a way to generate some revenue, whether it be through donations, new due structure, or finding a tenant that fits our needs and certainly respects our core values.
So if someone wanted to donate and help out to preserve this amazing museum, which walking around here, it's an honor and a privilege to see what you have here.
Thank you.
And it would be a shame to see this go away, clearly. How could they help? How could they donate?
Well, we can accept donations to the North Plainfield Exempt Fireman, and it's 300 Somerset Street, North Plainfield, New Jersey 07060. Or you can email me, and my email is npfd58@optonline.net. That's optonline.net.
All right, great. Well, Cap, I can tell you right now that PintheQ is definitely going to put all that information in the link. When everyone watches this, they'll have the opportunity to click onto that link and maybe donate if that's possible, which we hope will happen.
That'd be outstanding. Thank you.
So we're going to walk around a little bit and just see what's here. I mean, you have a lot of great equipment that's here for people to see. I mean, is your goal hopefully to maybe have the place open down the road so people can come in and see this stuff?
Yeah, I see, the museum floor, it's such a treasure, and I can see a lot of potential here for public education during Fire Prevention Week, or local artists may be able to use this venue to do like a gallery show of their work. It's just a tremendous amount of potential here. I'd love to see the membership increase in the association itself and get these pieces out for one of our parades. That would be a great thing. A lot of the equipment you see on the floors or on the walls came actually as things were decommissioned at the North Plainfield Fire Department. A lot of those items came here. The ladders on the wall, the suction, hard suction sleeves, some of our old foam equipment.
And those are all medals that firefighters received?
Those are all
parade
medals. Like, even today, if you go to the Relief Association convention in Wildwood, if you're a delegate or a life member, you get a ribbon and a pin, and these are in that spirit. It's the origins of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's several. For as many as we have in cases hanging around here on the apparatus floor, we have boxes of them in the basement.
So outside of what I see here, there's even more.
Yeah.
That's right. Those old SCB and the fire boxes are great.
Yeah, the old Survivors that came right off the apparatus and over here.
I love the fact that these guys were able to preserve some of this history. I mean, this is the stuff we try to preach to these new guys, and how important our history is in our culture. I mean, how important is that to you, to pass along this tradition?
It's as important to me to try to pass it on as it was to the guys who passed it down to me. I enjoyed hearing the stories and the especially, in the firehouse, the guys complain and how things used to be, and the kids just don't get it anymore. And, I mean, I was that kid that didn't get it, according to those older guys.
Right.
And now I'm sure I find myself in times of frustration complaining about these new kids. They just don't get it. But everything is different, but it's the same. I see podcasts like yours and some of these other Instagram channels that are they're doing what all the older guys hoped we would do. And it's just the new way of documenting history to pass it on. And if you don't know this kind of stuff, if you don't know the origins of it and where it started, you're not going to be able to pass it on, even if you're passing today's stuff on to tomorrow, and do it justice.
Well, Cap, I appreciate you showing us this amazing museum. There's still so much more to see here. We're going to take some photos and add this to the show. I think, again, I think it's important that people see this and cherish our traditions and our history. And you couldn't have said it any better. Without this, we don't know where we came from. Thanks again, Cap.
You bet.